What? No, I don't want to do that. Okay. Hi, everybody. I think I'm here all by myself right this second. It's Friday. It's a beautiful day out. I think my sound is on. I found some stuff. I found nothing exciting up on the camera. I don't usually play around with all the other things that that StreamYard can do, and I just realized I can play around with that sort of stuff and not worry about life. So where are we at today? That's what I was gonna do. No, that's not what I was gonna do. Is that it? That's it. That's it. That's it. Look at that. Let's see what I can do here. Pretty sure I'm the only one in here right now, so I'm just gonna muck a so that way if I go like that, then there's actually something to look at. That's the one I want. No, that's not the one I want. Why am I having such a hard time with this? Oh, because there's nothing else up right now. Okay. Anyway, hello. Hi, Trisha. I just started a minute ago. I was just looking at some stuff while I was waiting to start. So I'm just still looking at stuff. But anyway, how are you today? It's a beautiful, beautiful day here. So the dogs are like, get us outside. We want. I can't. They know what that word means, so I can't say it. I can't say the OUTSIDE word. That if you say a word enough to dogs, they'll start to figure out a general idea of what it means. Kind of like when you're teaching a toddler to talk, right? If you got a 1-year-old, say your kid is about 1 year old, and you say certain words, and you know that they will react to it. They do the same thing. Dogs are intelligent. Anyway, what am I doing here? That's what I want. That's what I want. Today we're talking about UFOs. We're talking about UFOs. We're focusing on David Grusch and his testimony before Congress. We were talking about this just the other day in just the regular hangout. Hi, Linda. Oh, supper. What's for supper? supper. So we're just talking about UFOs, and we're focusing on David Grusch, his testimony before Congress, and what's been going on, or rather, what hasn't been going on since then. So it might be kind of dry and boring today, but we're gonna start. This is a couple of things. Where is it? Come on. There we are. We're gonna start with these. These are important. These were part of the. Oh, still, hi, Kaz. Still feeling like crap? That's not fun. We should just hang out for a few minutes. People are still wandering in. There's no point in you guys wandering in halfway through something cool. But I've got, come on, where is it? Present, share screen. I don't know why, but even now I still have to think about this regularly. Is that gonna add to stage? No, do it that way. Why won't it let me do it that way? What am I doing wrong here? That one's a little bit better. I've got to sit down. See, that's what it's supposed to be, because that's for 2. Okay, I am just making my life miserable for no good reason here. Okay, I just got this on the Wikipedia page, and I'm going to put the link to this here, because there's more than one. These are, this is, that's the Wikipedia link. So, and I hope you guys can hear me okay. I kind of really didn't double check my cameras or anything. I'm just using my regular camera. I'm using a microphone over there. I don't know if it's picking up properly. Yeah, he wasn't really allowed to say much. Basically, he was allowed to make allegations. He wasn't allowed to talk about evidence because he said he had evidence. Okay, so this is something that we're going to be looking at. Wingdings and fries. What are wingdings? Just wings with stuff. I don't know what a wingding is. I don't know why the government decided to let this through. You ever do this thing? Let's talk about a conspiracy theory, and my almost always perfect internet connection decides to die off. It's like, oh, okay, so the government saw a conspiracy and decided to let it through. You can invent a conspiracy theory for damn near anything. So anyway, this is not actually much to see. This is basically this is the camera view of a jet fighter. Oh, tax deadline. Oh, that's not fun. So this is one of the UFO videos that were taken from a fighter, from a fighter jet, and this is what the cameras look like on the airplanes, right? The pilot. I'm not seeing. There's no sound to this, but there's other videos that have an overlay of sound. So this is something that a pilot got video of while he's up there flying around. And this thing is just like, this is, one of the best fighter jets in the world, one of the fastest, most maneuverable craft in the world. And this thing is just like, yeah, whatever, we're just keeping an eye on you. And the pilot was talking about how, yeah, he has no idea what it is. It's definitely staying ahead of him. And this is one of 4. So that one's already played through. So yeah, these are the kind of videos that are showing up. This is another one. This is only 35 seconds. There we go.
Dude, this is a fucking drone, bro.
Okay, let me see if this will pick up. I don't know if this is going to pick up properly or not. So let's try. So there's some.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys can hear it.
That's not our LNS though, is it? It's not. It is an LNS, dude. Well, if there's, look at that thing. It's rotating.
So that's just a 35-second clip. Okay, this matters because this is the kind of footage that was shown before Congress, okay? Congress is looking at this and talking to people like David Grusch that are saying, oh yeah, this has been going on for years. This is nothing. This is nothing to what we've got going on. This was, so this is, yeah, there's a whole fleet of them. So they're picking up one on their cameras, 120 knots. I have no idea how fast that is. But this thing is going against the wind, and they're not able to get anywhere near it, right? Yeah, they're all going against the wind. So they've got, this is like a missile lock screen that they have on their planes. So this is the one that they've locked onto, and they've got no control over it. Yeah, going against the wind like it's nothing. Okay, so this matters. This matters because now there's a little fun fact. Okay, so Trump signs. There's a little bit of a. I don't want to call it a conspiracy theory. That's not its thing. Trump signed an executive order ordering the Pentagon to release all the information that they had on UFOs, unidentified flying objects, UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon, which is the more formal way that they're addressing it now. And this is one of the things that this had already been leaked to the public, so they released it and said, yeah, we don't know what this is, whatever, right? Here's the fun fact, is that one of Hillary Clinton's aides, something, and I don't know the whole story because it's not like you can really find it now. I remembered reading about it at the time. Hillary Clinton quietly promised that if she were to have won the election against Trump, that she was going to sign an executive order ordering the Pentagon to release exactly the information that. So it was basically the identical executive order. Trump signed it instead of Clinton, based on who won the election. There's a bit of a conspiracy theory there, because why would either of them agree? Because this is what, when was that election? That was like not 2014. It wasn't that long ago. When was that election? When was Trump elected? 2016? I'm really bad because I'm up here in Canada, so I don't know shit, right? Why would Hillary Clinton make a promise to do something like that kind of went semi-public? Why would Trump actually do it? There's a bit of a conspiracy theory here already that something was going to have to happen. Yeah, it was going to go out no matter who won, which is a really weird, fun fact. If you're paying attention, it's a really weird, fun fact, and you can wrap a bit of can or can't. It's like, what motivation did either of them have for actually doing it? They don't. Now, Hillary Clinton, the piece that came out about Hillary Clinton was that one of her closest friends and aides had basically convinced her. This is the story. This is the public story, and I don't know if you can find it. Let's see. The New York Times, May 10th, 2016. Let's just share this tab. Oh, I can't share this tab. It's Hillary. Okay, I have the headline here. It's the New York Times, so unless you don't get to see the articles unless you're paying for it. Hillary Clinton gives UFO buffs hope she will open. So basically, hopes that she will open the Pentagon's files, which is, like I said. NBC News. Oh, I can do this one. I can look at this site. Okay, so let me just share this page. We're gonna, in our very stereotypical way, I'm blaming all of us now. In my very stereotypical way of bouncing down various rabbit holes, this is gonna go in a lot of different directions, sometimes all at the same time. Because to me, Lisa calls me a big brain, a big picture thinker, where I could take all these little bits of things and come up together, and then figure out a whole thing. My whole thing is that all of this stuff with David Grusch, I'll start with my theory. I'll start with what I believe, and then we'll talk about all the little tiny things that why I believe it. David Grusch coming out with his whistleblower complaint when he did, and the reason why David Grusch is really, really, really important is because a lot of stuff is now being legit. Him testifying before Congress legitimized a lot of thoughts, ideas, and theories around UFOs that before were like, oh, that's only what crazy people do. This is fringe theory. This is whatever. My skin is so dry. I don't know if you can hear it. It's like crackling. It's so dry, and I just realized I'm sitting here doing nothing but clicking buttons and talking today. So I should probably get some really. This is a really oily moisturizer. Anyway, so David Grusch is really, really important because the fact that anybody was able to seriously and be shown respect as he testifies before Congress is big fucking news, and it's a sign of something. So yeah, alien alien conspiracy theorists, don't forget, this is an article from... This is an article from 2016. This is from way before. This is from way before Grusch even showed up. In alien conspiracy theorist circles, presumptive Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton is being hailed as the ET candidate. She gave enthusiasts hope earlier this year when she promised. She gave enthusiasts hope earlier this year when she promised to crack open government files on extraterrestrials, Area 51, and UFOs. Her appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Live in March, so it can be found. This is not just a news article. It can be found where she herself is seen on camera saying this. Her appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Live in March won props from the UFO X-Files crowd when she insisted that the correct word for UFO was unexplained aerial phenomenon, which until then, that was like UAP. That's the latest nomenclature. I can't go look at the video. I'm going to link this. Okay. I'm going to link this video. Well, here's the funny thing. Trump didn't use it in his campaign. As far as I'm not enough of a news junkie to catch every single little thing. As far as I am aware, Trump never really said much about it in his candidacy, but he went ahead and signed off on the executive order anyway. So, this is a visitor wearing a homemade hat takes pictures of a scene displayed in what is being called International UFO Museum and Research Center in downtown Roswell, which is fine. Roswell is super famous now. I linked this article because a lot of this is from NBC News, and because I'm up here in Canada, I'm in the wrong country, and sometimes videos are not available to me up here in Canada, and I don't want to go trolling. I don't want to go trolling on YouTube for hours and hours to go look for it. Her approach on matters extraterrestrial. That's a weird sentence. Differs from the Obama administration, which often rebuffed questions with quips and jokes during the White House press briefings. Last month, when asked about whether the president planned to follow Clinton's pledge to get to the bottom of some alien conspiracy theories, White House press secretary, Josh Ernst said he didn't have a tab in my briefing book for Area 51 today. So basically, every time somebody tried to ask Obama about it, he didn't want to talk about it, but yet Clinton is going, oh yeah, I'm going to sign some stuff. I'm going to use my authority as the president to order the Pentagon to release information that nobody's ever been willing to release before. And like I said, I cannot remember what Trump did or didn't say publicly about this, but yeah, in a radio interview in April, Clinton said, there's enough stories out there that I don't think everybody is just sitting in their kitchen making this up. In her appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Live, she stated, so this is news to me. This is why I'm getting a little excited. This is news to me because I knew that she had made a mention of it. I'm up here in Canada. I'm not going to, back then, it's a long time ago. By memory and by what I remember looking up, I don't remember that many. I don't remember this many references because I only saw a few. But it's a fun fact, right? Clinton stated that she wanted to open up a number of government files on UFOs and extraterrestrial life. That came not long after her campaign chairman, John Podesta. John Podesta is the one who basically talked her into that. That's the fun fact that I know, is that her and John Podesta talked about this. John Podesta said that one of the greatest regrets he had while serving as an advisor to President Obama was not convincing him to release such files. Now, here's the interesting thing. Obama was the first president to publicly acknowledge Area 51. He joked about the move back in 2013 he joked about the a government testing area that's long captured the imagination of alien conspiracy theorists. Okay, we don't need to keep, I'm talking way too fast, so I'm like this, slurring almost. Don't worry, it's just Diet Coke. I'm stone cold sober. this David Grusch stuff gets me really, really excited, because I do think it's the first step in a full disclosure that's going to lead to confirmation of not just life on other planets, but intelligent life, and maybe life that we've already been in contact with for some time. Yeah, so this is what Obama joked around about. Now, when you first become president, one of the questions that people ask is what's really going on in Area 51. When I wanted to know, I'd call Shirley MacLaine. I think I just became the first president to ever publicly mention Area 51. How's that, Shirley? Shirley MacLaine, actress, really, really big in the UFO community. Clinton is now saying, so this is the tone shift in just a few years, right? Well, actually, in just Obama was president, then this is what Clinton was saying while she was running to take over his job. Says releasing such files would serve as more of a historical curiosity than a pressing scientific issue. So they're still playing down what they expect to be released, but they expect something to be released. This is where it got really, really weird, right? Okay. So she refers to them as UAPs. Trump refers to them as UAPs. Here's the really okay. So this is the first crumb in a trail that ends with David Grusch. And like I said, I think that David Grusch testifying before Congress, no matter, I think at the end of the day, no matter who made this happen, how or why, I think the agenda is that they've got some big news that they're not going to be able to hide much longer. So Trump signs the executive order instead of Clinton, which is very, very weird. So Trump ends up signing an executive order on this, and nobody wants to take it seriously. The media doesn't want to. The media doesn't want to touch it, which is really weird. Laugh the whole thing off because it was Trump. Oh, Trump did this, so therefore it must be a huge problem, and there must be something wrong with it because the media hates Trump. We don't need to get into why, because we don't want to be all about that part of it. But the media hated Trump enough at that point in time. Don't forget, during Trump's presidency, formally it's President Trump. During Trump's presidency, these same media outlets that are reporting on him signing this order are refusing to use the word president and are calling him Mr. Trump. That was then, and we don't need to get into the politics of the issue, but we can confirm that politics played a big part in how this order was received. That kind of hurt. It kind of hurt the UFO support. It kind of hurt the I believe in aliens crowd. But end result is so let's get back on track. So we've got the history of it a little bit here. It is really, 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 really important that Hillary Clinton made the decision, because, like I said, politics at the time was basically like the whole campaign, the entire election campaign between Clinton and Trump was us versus them, thinking Hillary Clinton being willing to say this publicly at a time and during a campaign where it got really vicious, very attacking. And people believing UFOs in 2016 was still talking about this sort of stuff in 2016 was still a good way to end up being ridiculed and mocked. So why would she say it? Why would she comment on this at all? Even in 2016, the climate being what it was still pretty risky for her to have said it. She did it anyway. I think sitting in the comfort of Canada, I think a lot of really, really important things happened in the background where that was concerned, which is she talked about it because she wanted to get ahead of it, because her husband was president of the United States and had his 8 years. Didn't Bill Clinton serve 2 terms, or was it just 1? She had access, accidentally or otherwise, because people come home at the end of the, President Bill Clinton comes home at the end of the day and goes, "You won't believe what they just told me about UFOs." If you're going to confide in your wife, your whatever, you're going to confide in people in times and places. So yeah, she's calling it UAPs when that's a government classification that nobody else is using at the time. And she's correcting people on this, and she's just a candidate. She knows stuff. Okay. conspiracy theories about that aside, like I said, we're not looking at Trump or Clinton or anything about that part of things, but we are talking about why would Hillary Clinton take the risk of making a public mention of something like that when it was already a very contentious, problematic campaign to begin with for both sides. She was setting herself up to be mocked and ridiculed by making these statements, and she made them anyway. There's a reason. She definitely knew stuff. This is the hill that I'm dying on. Here's the thing. You start talking about Trump, and Clinton, you start talking about that stuff, and it's really, really easy to start talking about the presidency and the politics. And hello, Moira. It's really easy to start talking about the presidency, the politics, and the liberal versus Republican issues and stuff like that. And it's like, I'm really, really trying hard to be careful how I express myself, because what I'm trying to do right now is focus 1000% of my energy on strictly this one teeny tiny issue. So it's like, yeah, we know that the Trump versus Clinton campaign was vicious. Both of them spent more time shitting on each other than talking about what they were going to do for the country. And I'm kind of a Bernie fan. So, okay, I'm Canadian. So I'm not I was never a part of the political structure. I'm Canadian, and based on what I like, I was kind of a Bernie fan. So I feel like I'm allowed to be critical of both of them, right? But the thing is that Hillary Clinton made some critical mistakes and still talked about this, which was the one thing that neither one of them went to war over that, and they could have. Why would she make statements like this, and why did she get away with it? Because I will say that both of them are very well connected politically. You don't run for president unless you are. They both knew something. That's why they were both willing to make these promises. Trump didn't say nearly as much as she did, but you don't say you do not paint that bullseye on yourself. Like I said, 2016, you do not paint that bullseye on yourself unless you know something. We don't know what. I think she knows exactly what was going on. I think because Obama joked around about it, right? Oh, as president, blah, blah, blah. And he's joking around about it and trying to avoid the topic. Her husband had been president before him. And Roswell happened well before that. Like, Roswell happened in the 50s, right? No. Yeah. Trisha says, did the media eat her alive about it? No. Oh, that's cool. That's interesting. Nobody said anything. Conservative media also didn't say anything. This could have been, even in 2016, saying that I believe in UFOs, saying that regardless of what I believe, I'm going to take it seriously, blah, 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 blah. Just the idea of taking it seriously, regardless of what you did or didn't believe, got you hit with the loony label. It's like, oh, there must be something wrong with you to believe in this stuff. They were still... This matters. We're 28 minutes in, and we haven't even got to David Grusch yet. This really matters, and this is something that as I stumble across new and interesting information, I've kept this in the back of my mind for almost 10 years now. It's like, wait a second, why are two different presidential candidates? One was a candidate, one became president. Why are they talking so openly about this? Why are they not being crucified by the media for it? And like I said, like there's left and right media. She makes a comment like this. She's talking about this on Jimmy Kimmel, and nobody's making fun of her. No, it's just radio silence. Trump turns around, and Trump was asked a few questions, and he's like, "Well, yeah, I would sign off on that. We've got no reason to hide this." He never really got into the same kind of details. But yeah. Yeah, nobody ate anybody alive. Trump may or may not have made comments. I just don't remember. That's got nothing to do with what did or didn't happen. I just don't remember, never noticed anything, right? Anyway, this matters. So now let's move on. Let's go back and look at these. There's two more of these. One more, sorry. I don't know if you guys can see that very well. See how fast it's moving?
Echo 6-1 Tango, small check on me. Oh, got it! Woohoo! Roger, there's troubleshooting. Did you box moving target? No, I took an auto track. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow, look at the fly!
So, those are the Pentagon UFO videos. These are the Pentagon UFO videos are selected visual recordings of FLIR. I don't know what that is. It's their targeting infrared, forward-looking infrared. So these are their targeting cameras. Okay, these things are moving around fast enough and in a way that because you might be able to target something but know that you're not going to be able to hit it, right? 2004. So the first one I showed you was from 2004, then 2014, then 2015, with additional footage taken by other personnel. Oh, we got more. Okay. This is stuff. These were leaked to the media starting in about 2017. So we've already got media leaks. This is from a wait, what's that say? I can only look at one of these at a time. Maybe I should open this one up on a second page so I can go back and forth. Come on, go. Okay, perfect. Okay, makes what I'm doing. I'm doing it right for a change. See, this is where my big picture brain is going. It's like, wait a second. So you've got this vicious political campaign. One side's talking. It didn't matter what they said. They were attacking each other over everything. And considering what the common perception, considering how easy it would have been to jump on that bandwagon and just utterly savage Clinton for talking about this stuff openly, it didn't happen. Neither side, the left, neither side of the media wanted anything to do with making this a big issue. There's a reason for that, right? There's a reason for that. So I'm just going to go. Okay, so publicity surrounding the videos. And don't forget, these started coming out about 2017. This matters as well. Don't forget. So the elections in 2016, 2017, this kind of footage starts getting leaked out. The fucking Pentagon. Okay, the Pentagon is leaking. This is leaking from the Pentagon. This is national security shit. This is like you're being executed for treason shit. And they're getting leaked with amazing regularity. Like some of them leaked early 2014, 2004. Oh, wait. The videos were taken 2004, 2014, 2015, started being leaked 2017. So these are leaked and they're available. The Pentagon later addressed and officially released the first 3 videos of UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon, in 2020. So Trump gets elected 2016, 17, 18. How does that work? So his last year in office, he waits till his last year in office to sign this executive order because the information wasn't actually released until the first year into Biden's term. First year and a half. So Trump was not as on board as Clinton was, still signed it anyway. Okay. This matters. So the Pentagon, because they have no choice but to disclose this stuff anyway, once they reach that deadline where they have to disclose this information, they disclose, yeah, these are real. These are real videos that we have, and we have no idea what this stuff was. Okay. Yeah, and then they confirmed the provenance of the leaked 2019 videos, and yeah, they were leaked in 2019, same year that Trump signs his thing. I'm trying to If I get the dates wrong, that's fine. Yeah, leaks are orchestrated. This had these leaks coming when they did and being confirmed. Okay, the leaks happened over time, and then the Pentagon confirms the leaks. It's like, this gets really weird really fast, okay? And then, so that happens. It's like, wait a second. So now we're gonna talk. Now I'm just showing. I'm gonna maybe, let me see if I can find the next. There's another photo. Oh, there's two more. Okay, so there's another one here. Let's see what we got here. Oh my God. I don't know if you guys can see this well or not. There's a little dot near the center, and it's hard to see. It's hard for me to see because I'm looking at the inside. See how fast it's moving and how fast it's turning? The Pentagon is saying that's a commercial aircraft. We have jets taking off from the airport, coming over this area of town to do their turns. I have never seen a jet. I have never seen anything move that fast, change direction that fast. But that's okay. It was a commercial aircraft. Now it's just, yeah. Okay, so that could be. See, that's how a commercial aircraft moves, but it doesn't do that. They don't shift position that abruptly. So these are videos that would have been reviewed as part of the congressional hearings on UAPs. This is South Asia. This was also identified as a commercial aircraft. 3 of them moving in sequence. Commercial aircraft. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what happens if we speed this up a little bit. Yeah, 3 dots moving in sequence, and they're saying they're commercial aircraft. That doesn't make sense either. Some of the jostling is going to be jets moving around. The camera being moved quickly, but yeah. So let me see what else we got. Do we have any more? No more videos here. Okay. So basically, potential explanations as of. Let's bring that. This is a different one too. This is military footage. Oh yeah, this is military footage. Where this matters, what you're looking at here, this is some military footage. Yeah, they're synchronized. It's like, oh, a synchronized commercial aircraft that don't quite, and when you get a little bit closer, are not quite the right shape to be commercial aircraft, but they're commercial aircraft. The U.S. government is so desperate to not have to disclose any more than they absolutely have to, that they make shit up. Okay, now this here, I've seen this. This is a military helicopter, I think it is. I'll start the video in a second. This is a military helicopter. They're looking at some targets here, but out of the top right, you're going to see an orb, a ball of some kind come passing through, and then they're going to try and start following it. You see it? So they're trying to follow this. Right up there. And of course, they still have it on their screen, yet amazingly, the video itself cuts off. I don't know if you can see it. It's right there. It's like there is nothing in the U.S. military or any military that anybody knows of that is a spherical object that can go through. No idea, right? Actually, let's do that. Oh no, we can't do that. Or the sound will disappear. The sound will disappear if I do that. Oh wait, yeah, I can't do that. Can I do that? Nope, can't do that either. Come on, I gotta find the right one again. There's the one I've been looking for. I have been looking for that button to do that, to make this as big as possible. Nope, don't want to do that. Don't want to do that. Nope, I don't want to do that. I'm gonna stop playing with buttons because yeah. Okay, so this is the kind of stuff David Grusch was talking about. So what we're gonna now we're moving on. Now I'm gonna get another drink. I'll be right back. Okay. Always stopping to do something. Okay. So now we're moving on to the congressional hearings. So basically, the files come out. Let me see if I can get to this. Come on. Do. So, where am I? We can just leave that up for a bit because this is going to. Now, this is straight from Wikipedia. This matters. This is straight from Wikipedia because it's all nicely whatever, right? So basically, David Grusch comes forward, and he is an Afghanistan combat veteran. He's a former U.S. Air Force intelligence officer. He worked in the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, which is a combat within the Department of Defense whose primary mission is collecting, analyzing, and distributing geospatial intelligence in support of national security, initially known as, National Imagery and Mapping Agency. So he's definitely part of the community. He's in the Air Force, and the Air Force, like those leaked videos all came from the Air Force. The Air Force, you're up in the air, you've got this big giant clear view. The Air Force comes in contact with UFO reports, UFO sightings. They come in contact with that more than any other agency. So yeah, aerial photography becomes so basically his department is all about sorting out this stuff. And he's like, his allegation, the main part of his allegation is that there's a branch within that works with UFOs, works with this, that works with that. And we know how the intelligence community works as it works with the military of any country. They're not going to go. You're not going to go find a door. You're not going to walk into a building, find a door, and go top secret UFO research behind this door. They don't do that. They hide it. They hide where it is. That was his claim. Is that agencies within his agency were doing all of this stuff, and because of his high security clearance, he came in contact with a lot of this stuff, and he decided to be a whistleblower. And we already talked about this a little bit. Yeah, I'm just putting oil on my hands. It's so dry. I can't do this when I'm sewing because I don't want to get the oil residues on the fabric because that would be a fucking mess. So I could only do this. I can only get really, really deep moisturizing on days when I'm not sewing. Okay. So he claims to have viewed documents. He claims to have viewed documents reporting that Benito Mussolini's government, that's the Italian government during World War II, recovered a non-human spacecraft in 1933, which the Vatican and the Five Eyes. The Five Eyes is Canada, U.S., England, Australia, and New Zealand. The Anglosphere Intelligence Alliance. So the Five Eyes is an integrated intelligence community between those 5 countries. Assisted the U.S. in procuring in 1944 or 1945. So basically, he claims to have seen documentation that the spacecraft was recovered in 1933 and was brought over to the U.S. during the end of the war, because by that point, I think Italy had already surrendered. He claims that American citizens have been harmed and killed as part of government efforts to cover up that information, and that right there is conspiracy stuff that has been going around. Oh, perfect. I was concerned how that goes, because I know that when I'm doing it with 2 cameras, I'm just showing pages. I'm just showing web pages, right? But when I'm doing it with 2 cameras, it will only accept the sound from whichever one happens to go up. I'm just still kind of getting used to it. Yeah. The Five Eyes is Canada, the U.S., England, Australia, and New Zealand. They're 5 English-speaking countries. It's basically an Anglo. I don't know what the politics on it are, but yeah, because they're all interconnected. So, where are we at? Okay, so we're over here. So this is something else that he claimed. Now, everybody, I'm assuming that all of you have heard different conspiracy theories that people who get too close to the truth about UFOs end up missing or dead. And the suicide rate among government employees who claim to have come into contact with UFOs seems to be really fucking high. So there probably is some truth to that claim. But yeah, covering up, absolutely. The government, basically the Pentagon report that was ordered by Trump basically confirmed that there's been a government cover-up where UFOs are concerned for a very long time. And because the Pentagon, they redacted so much. Let's see if we can find a copy of it. Oh, here's something I just found. Read the Pentagon UFO report, newly released by the Department of Defense. This is something we're going to look at as well. The initial report, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it quickly. Anybody who's paid half a bit of attention, the initial report that Trump ordered to be released was like entire pages that were blacked out with like 2 sentences. There's a shit ton of information, and they claimed national security interests for redacting, blacking out, and eliminating huge chunks of it. Like this one here was taken in a war zone, so they can use national security to say, we're not going to release information. We're not going to release documents and videos that are coming out of an active war zone, so we're not telling you. So we have to redact that national security. They redacted all sorts of stuff because of national security, which is what led to, now we're getting on to David Grusch, which is what led to David Grusch deciding to become a whistleblower. Okay, so he becomes a whistleblower. He goes through the proper channels. That doesn't make sense. National security, but he's going to violate national security in order to make a whistleblower complaint, and the whistleblower laws are going to trump the national security laws. This makes no sense. The fact that he was allowed to testify at all, something's up. Something is 1,000% up with that, because whistleblower protection does not outrank national security. Makes no sense. So why are they even letting this guy testify? Because whether or not David Grusch is full of shit, whether or not he's telling the truth, whether or not he's just deluded, it doesn't matter. The fact that he was allowed to testify at all causes a national security uproar because of the claims that he's making. This is like if I worked in a hospital among all these surgeons doing all of these really, heart surgeons, brain surgeons. I'm working in or near the surgical ward of a hospital, and I decide that I'm going to invoke my whistleblower protections in order to publicly announce that these doctors intentionally murder their patients. Oh, this patient's not going to survive. We're just going to snip the brainstem. That's some pretty fucked up shit, right? Whistleblower protection does not protect me from reporting on things that are malicious, that are not okay. You can, when you, whistleblower protection protects you from being prosecuted or persecuted, whatever, when reporting on things that are true. It is not permission to go announce your fantasies to the public as if they are reality. There is backlash. There is backlash for that. So I decide to go and say, oh yeah, when you go into the hospital, they roll a dice and decide, if you're going in for a major surgery, if they decide it's not going well, they'll just euthanize you and walk away. I'm gonna end up in jail. I am the one that's going to end up in jail or sued for millions upon millions upon millions of dollars, because allowing over the whistleblower complaints do not being whistleblower laws, protection laws do not protect you from making false claims, from making damaging claims, they do not protect you from that. He's going forward making these claims, claiming that his life is in danger and nobody's touching him. One of his claims is that he decided to become a whistleblower and go public because he was asking too many questions and he started to feel like he was in danger. Oh yeah, that's not going to happen. Okay, there's this thing called trickle truth, where you let the truth out a little teeny tiny bit at a time. And I think that this is what I think we're getting trickle truth at a national level. I think David Grusch came along to, he got to testify before Congress. He gets to give it a little bit of legitimacy. Oh, and for anybody who's listening and not watching, what Moira said is, imagine if the government said, yeah, you got us. Aliens walk among us, or actually they are the ones pulling our strings. Not sure that's going to happen. And the thing is that it's not going to happen as a single, yep, this is what's going on. The government is not going to admit that they have been in discussions with aliens. ET has been hanging out here for the last 50, 60 years, and it's finally time to admit it because we can't hide it much longer. They are not going to just openly admit it, because that would mean the government's not in control. It's like if okay, I walk in and I make a bizarre claim. I make a bizarre claim about the hospital that I work at. That's one of the statements that he made. He made statements that one of the reasons it was the right thing to do. It was wrong to keep him in the public, but he did at one point make a statement that he was concerned that his life might be in danger, because he says one of his claims in Congress was that he has actual evidence to support the things that he's saying, but the decision was made up front that they were going to talk about what he thinks, what he feels, whatever. Any actual evidence would be revealed in a private, behind closed doors meeting later. So one of the things he says is, I think my life is in danger, and I think going public is the best thing for me, my safety, and the people, and the American people, yada yada. So what's come out since then? So the congressional stuff was basically a lot of he said, she said. The public hearings, he talked about a lot of stuff, but provided no evidence. Did anyone watch V? I watched, yeah, okay. There was a series out called V. Did anyone watch V? Both the original and the remake were pretty awesome and effing creepy. Okay, I watched the original, and in the original was like, oh, wait a second, is this somebody? I always wonder if some of this really cool shit that we see on media, TV, movies, I always wonder, is that somebody with a good imagination, or are they just totally unconsciously tapping into the collective conscience? Anyway, I watched V, and yeah, on V, basically, these ET comes down to help humanity, and it turns out what they're actually doing is quietly taking over, and with the ultimate goal that once they have amassed enough control, that they're just gonna, once they're gonna, it's all stealth. So it's like, hey, we're aliens, we're coming, we're gonna help humanity, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that. They've got all this technology, but they don't really have the numbers or the whatever to successfully invade and take over the planet. They could take over the planet. They can bomb us to oblivion. Apparently, I don't know the full story on that part. So they want to infiltrate our governments, take over the world, and eventually make us a slave race to their society or whatever as their future. Yeah, they were kind of like lizard people. Yeah, they're lizards. They're basically lizard people. This is kind of definitely based on some of the lizard people stuff that's out there, because some of the UFO reporting is that they are, lizard people, and a lot of the stuff is that there are different races and different species, all with different agendas, and we're kind of the Wild West for them. Some of them are just curious. Some of them aren't interested at all. Some of them are just like, oh, we're, fly by and look at the humans in their native habitat. And others are, medical experimentation. We've got the little gray aliens with their probes. And then there's, And then there's the reptilians who are trying to find ways to control our government or this or that, quietly taking over, so that once they do reveal themselves, it's too late. It's like, okay, we're in charge now, and you guys are just our servants, and that's just the way it is if you want to live. That was the premise behind V. That is some of the premises behind some of the types of aliens that are David ICKE. And we gotta look him up. Reptilians. We had a guy that used to come into my store when I was working at a grocery store. Ooh, he's actually he's got the first thing that comes up is a documentary on Rumble that's for free. Gaia Network, Reptilian Conspiracy Theory. It's on Wikipedia. Wikipedia is a great starting point, and then you just follow the breadcrumb trail of all the. That's something to look at next. Yeah. Okay. Trisha's got it. Okay. David Icke, ex-footballer, wrote, and that's soccer for all those of us in the less developed parts of the world. Wrote books about how there are reptilian shapeshifter aliens on this planet, and how they're trying to quietly take over. So that's a theory. What was I going to say? I was going to say something I forget. Anyway, so David Grusch is stepping up and going, yeah, we've been in contact. I've seen proof that we're in contact with aliens. I've seen an alien spacecraft. So he's reporting on all the stuff that he's seen, documentation saying that this goes back. The government cover-up of alien existence has gone back to as far as 1933. This is where it gets. In a testimony given to the U.S. Committee on Oversight and Accountability on July 2023. So this is just last year. This is a little over a year ago. The reason that's why we're doing this today is like, what's happened since then? Because somebody goes in and makes testimony like this, and he's not the only one testifying, right? A whole bunch of other UFO people are testifying along with the military people who are like, yeah, this is what I saw. All these people are going in, testifying before Congress, and it's gone radio silence ever since. Because this is actually the thing that we're interested in today. We're just setting up what's going on, right? Well, we're just talking in a big fucking circle because we can. Yeah, trickle truth is gradual, soft delivery. Everything David said could have been said by any one of many different personnel. Government chose timing to start leaking info. That's what it feels like to me. This is what it feels like to me too. Why is it that both presidential candidates in 2016 were willing to sign the same fucking executive order? Now we focus on Trump because the media doesn't like Trump. Oh, Trump did this, proof that Trump is crazy, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, let's see big. So it's like, okay, but let's forget. The media forgets that Hillary Clinton did interviews talking about how she was going to do the same damn thing. That's really weird. So they want people to take it seriously, but they only want people to take it so seriously. They only want it to go so far. It's like, oh, this makes no sense. I think the trickle truthing started with Obama admitting that Area 51 is real and that it exists. Because don't forget, during the Obama, we've heard of Area 51. Anybody who's looked up Roswell has heard of Area 51, but the government has always denied its existence until Obama admitted to Area 51 being a military research facility. Oh, I'm off in the corner. Let's see. There I am. Okay. Yeah, I've been leaving the same little inset up for way too long. This one here doesn't have a lot to show. In the same way that in the same way, like if I was doing one on Bigfoot, we'd be showing lots of different pictures and stuff. Okay, so he's a decorated veteran. He worked in an intelligence. He's got a really high security clearance. He was the representative to the NRO to the United Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force from late 2021 to July 2022. So not necessarily a long time, but he's been in the same department. Like he's been working from the same facility with the same people for a long time, right? He was the co-lead for the UAP analysis at the NGA and its representative to the task force. So regardless of what he says he's seen otherwise, UFO footage, like the stuff that I was just showing you from the Pentagon videos, that's been crossing his desk for a long time now, for at least the last 2 or 3 years. And I'm sorry if that's what you're doing. If you're doing something for even if you're doing the same thing, oh, is this a UFO or is this something else? Is this a UFO? You're looking at UAP. If you're doing the same thing for 8 hours a day for all it takes is 2 or 3 years to form a very, very deeply held conviction about whether or not the thing that you're looking at is real or not. He assisted in drafting the National Defense Authorization Act of 2023. Which includes provisions for reporting UFOs, including whistleblower protections and exemptions to non-disclosure orders and agreements. So he assisted in creating the same whistleblower protections that he then invoked in order to whistleblow. This is what's going on at the Pentagon. Okay. So congressional interest in UFO sightings immediately prior to Grusch's public claims surrounded questions about the 4 objects that the Air Force shot down in February 2023. So the 4 objects shot down. Well, there's a map that we're going to look at. Back to little me. Let's see. Ooh, we're going to share this tab. Does anybody remember the balloons? This was really, really interesting timing. Let me just bring this one up. Oh, what am I doing? See, here I am. I'm just showing. Whoop. No, add to stage. Okay. That's not the one I want. See, I keep losing this one. There it is. Okay. Look at that little tiny dot. You see this? You see the crosshairs? Look at that balloon. Oh, look, there's a balloon. Oh my God, did I disappear with no sound? Did my sound go away? Did my sound disappear? Yay! Okay. I was on a different page. Let me do this again. We got our high altitude balloons, okay? High altitude balloons. What I was reading through. Oh my God, you guys are awesome to stick around then. Okay, so what's going on? I went over onto I went over from here. Let me close that thing. Okay, that's still open. The sound is there. Let's go there. Okay. The 4 objects. I showed you. Okay, I showed you the map. You saw the map with the 4 objects that were shot down, right? Oh, man. Okay. I'm going to do it again. You know what? Maybe I'll stutter a little bit less. Okay. So I guess I'm leaving my little thing over there in the. I'm burping though. Okay. So let me start again to make sure that I'll start from this map shows 4 objects that were shot down, high altitude objects that were shot down. The one that was shot down over Yukon, Canada is really fucking important because that's Canadian. That is Canadian airspace. And they were so fucking scared of this thing and nervous about what it was. This is after shooting down the Chinese spy balloon, after shooting down one other object. This object shows up on the radar. The American military came into Canadian airspace and launched a $500,000 ICBM missile. No, not ICBM. What's the other one? Launched a $500,000 missile. Don't say ICBM. That's different. Launched a $500,000 missile to take down this balloon in Canadian airspace. Do you know how big of an emergency it needs to be for the American military to come onto Canadian airspace and launch ordnance, period, end stop? Yeah. Canadians defend their airspace. But what they realized, they're like, oh, this is over the Yukon. Canada is like bigger than the United States with only like 10% of the population. So basically, oh my God, we spotted one, but it's over your airspace. And Canada's like, we can't get our jets there fast enough. Can we come and shoot it down? Yeah, get rid of it. Why are they fucking panicking when they've already got the Chinese spy balloon down and determined it's a balloon? It's not. Why are you okay? It's a balloon, and the Yukon. What the fuck's going on up there? That's so fucking important, right? They're like, we need to take this out before it can drift down into because the Chinese one had already drifted over a couple of military installations, right? It's like this is a balloon that is drifting on the fucking wind, and you guys have to take it down while it's over the fucking Yukon. When you take a look at this map, you see the northern border of the United States. 90% of the Canadian population lives in that area. 90% of no. The fact that the military and they pretend this didn't happen, right? The fact that U.S. military was given permission to enter Canadian airspace and shoot off a $500,000 missile, because I saw the article about this. Why didn't they just use bullets? Pew pew pew. They've got them. I'm assuming. I don't know if military planes have onboard guns anymore. Like, I mean, when you think of a military plane, I guess if you're not up to, I'm not interested in the military, so I'm thinking like fighter jets with like bullets on the sides or whatever. But why such a big badass? Why a $500,000 missile to shoot down a weather balloon? Nothing. So Canada, the United States, get on the phone and an emergency call. This thing was spotted. This thing was shot down within hours of being spotted. The Chinese one, they were watching it for 2 or 3. Well, they spotted it on like the 3rd and shot it down on the 9th. Why did the subsequent balloons? Why did the subsequent balloons have to be shot down ASAP, even if it involved one military entering another military's airspace to do it? Okay, this is happening at the same time as the David Grusch thing. This does not link to David Grusch, but it does. It's like, that's some really interesting timing, because I will tell you right now, if I ran the zoo, I would be going like, okay, it's nighttime. We don't have to worry about birds at night. So how about overnight we ramp up the sensitivity of our radar installations to make sure that to make sure that there's nothing in our airspace that shouldn't be there. That sounds pretty fucking logical, doesn't it? So why is the military have a tool that they're not using? How can some 59-year-old woman sitting in fucking Canada go, if you have this level of surveillance to do, they dumb down the radar so that they're not picking up birds and stuff. I get it. That makes sense. But very few birds fly at night. Like, again, birds don't fly at 50,000 feet. Birds don't fly that high up. Why are you not? Okay, at night, there is no bird flying at 50,000 feet at night. Why are they not using the equipment that they have? We can't use it during the day. It's a bit of a problem. We'll get too much clutter. We won't get useful information. Fine, use it at night. Why are you not doing that? Because I'll tell you right now, if I'm sneaking into a fucking country, if I'm sneaking hot air balloons into another country, doing it at night when there's no chance of it being spotted from the ground is a lot more preferable than doing it in the middle of the day when people can go, oh, look at that. Hey, what's that weird balloon up there? But that's an aside, okay? That says something different. Anyway, so back to David Grusch. Actually, back to these balloons. So what was going on with these balloons? What I got going on to about 5 minutes. So you've got the balloon incident, right? The Chinese balloon incident, 2023. They spotted it in January 28th. They shot it down 6 days later. Okay. February 2nd, there was one spotted over Costa Rica, Colombia, and Venezuela. A Chinese high altitude balloon. Okay. Yeah, a spokesman for the Chinese government confirmed that the balloon was theirs and said that it was used for flight tests and was blown off course. So we've had balloons. There was the hot air balloon was first demonstrated like in the 1700s at like the Paris Expo or something like that. Not the same time the Eiffel Tower was built. They were dropping bombs off of hot air balloons during what civil war was it? During some European conflict. They don't need to test anything. So guys are still hearing me, right? I'm not touching anything anymore. Okay. So February 2nd, they spotted it. The Chinese said it was just a test balloon, blew off course, nothing, it was not shot down. February 9th, they spot a balloon, shoot it down February 10th. That was the one in Alaska. Okay. An Alaska high altitude object. They don't know what it is. Nobody took responsibility for it. February 11th. That's the one in the Yukon. That's the one in the see, this is why I had the map up. That was so the map showed 4 in sequence, right? That one was shot down. That's the one. Oh, hey, we found another one. We found another one in Canadian airspace. We're going to come and get it for you. Yes, please help us, right? No, that did not happen. The Canadian government, no, these things, the one that was detected January 28th took 6 days to get to the coast of South Carolina where it was shot down. So 6 days. Why are they panicking to take something down the minute it was spotted in the Yukon? Makes no sense. Then February 11th, they spot one in Montana. Octagonal object with strings was detected over northern Montana, Wisconsin, and the upper peninsula of Michigan. Airspace was temporarily closed. So this is, which one is this? Let's go to the top. So that's this. So that one's drifting north, apparently, because that's, I think, the one that was shot down over Lake Huron. Yeah, Lake Huron. So it went from Alberta to Montana to Wisconsin, Michigan, Ontario, Lake Huron. So that one was yeah, U.S. It was shot down by an F-16. It was shot, the one in the Yukon was shot down by an F-22. And I forget what it was shot down with, but the one in the Yukon was shot down with a massive overpowered. I'm not sure what they waited for the one to go over Lake Huron, and that one may have also been shot down with a hugely expensive missile. And there's argument there as to whether or not that one had traveled into Canadian airspace. That one there in Canadian airspace makes absolutely no sense because we have several military bases in that area of Canada. Then we've got Shandong, high altitude. Chinese authorities detected one. Wait a second. I thought these were Chinese balloons. Then we detect one in Romania. Then we detect another one. Then we detect another one in North China. Then we detect another one in, and that's from the Oakland Air Route Traffic Control Center, reported that a large white balloon had been reported to be flying at an altitude of 40,000 to 50,000 feet. So basically, and then one over Hawaii. So 4 of the 5 that so the one is going over South America. The Americans can't, the U.S. can't do anything about that. That one doesn't get shot down. Every single one the 4 that were at or near American airspace were shot down. Let's panic. Let's shoot them down. Then we've got them showing up in China. Then we've got the one in Hawaii. Nobody shot those down. So it's like, why? They're unidentified. They're worth being shot down. Why are they suddenly being ignored? Why are they suddenly being ignored? That's my take. They didn't know what they were, and then they did. And that's the reptilian overlord said, no, that's one of ours. You leave that shit alone. Because they're blaming this shit on the Chinese until the Chinese started reporting balloons of their own, and it's been radio silent ever since. We don't hear about these anymore. Something, who knows, but something. Okay. So now we got to go back to, where am I going? So, Grusch's public claims are not really a surprise. There's not really a whole lot of surprises. Yeah, who knows what it was? Balloons or UFOs. If they were balloons, they would have continued to report them as balloons, and they never did. They just went, the U.S. government went radio silent on any further anything. And to the best of my knowledge, let's take a look. Okay. "2023 Chinese balloon is let's go back to this one and see if it's going to talk about them a little bit better. Since several of the objects were downed in relatively inaccessible locations. Well, wait a second. Remote alpine terrain in the Yukon and deep U.S.-Canada boundary waters in the middle of Lake Huron. It's like, I'm sorry, they can get to those areas. I mean, remote alpine terrain in the Yukon. So they're saying that they never recovered these. Recovery efforts have required considerable amounts of coordination and care. Okay, so they're working on it. They were working on it. On February 16th, 2023, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police announced that the search for a Lake Huron object had been suspended due to deteriorating weather and low chance of recovery. On February 16th, around 11 a.m., a suspected weather balloon believed to have originated in China was discovered at a shooting range in Taiwan. In February 18th, it was reported that the searches for the Alaska, Yukon, and Lake Huron objects had all been abandoned. Like, I mean, I'm sorry, I don't believe that. You're putting $500,000 into you're putting you're using an incredibly expensive air-to-air missile to take down what you believe to be a weather balloon, but you gave up on finding it. No, whatever they found, they weren't willing to disclose what it was. Like, come on. There's no way. Like, I get it. Lake Huron is a much deeper lake than people realize it is, and I get that there'd be some problems with that. But they had time to coordinate it. They probably watched it because they were probably right there. And the RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, that's a police organization. This was a military exercise. Why is a Canadian police force reporting on a military operation? There's no logic there. Oh, Gail has to go. Bye, Gail. Have a great day. Yeah, have a good weekend. Have a great weekend. Honestly, what is the actual source of information from Wikipedia? It's crowdsourcing. This is why for me, I like using Wikipedia because it gives it the opportunity to click. It does take it like what I do is, okay, so we've got this is how I kind of do my little armchair research. After the sightings of a Chinese balloon in 2023, right? So then I'll click on that. Yeah, this is what was photographed. This is what the Air Force photographed in 2023. That's the photograph that they released to the public, right? It's like, so basically from there, I've got the dates. I've got the dates and the base information. This is what I do when I decide to deep dive a topic. Okay, so January 4th. So now I can look up Chinese balloon incident, February 4th. So now I'll copy, paste that, February 4th, to make sure I'm not getting it mixed up with other things. Wikipedia, which I can skip, CNN. There you go. And now I can go to an actual news article. This is what they pulled in. The unfortunate problem is that as a military operation, this is where my skepticism gets me. I've got to pee because I'm chugging fluids. I've been a little dehydrated. So I've been chugging fluids all day. I'll be right back. Hi, Fuzzy Bud. How's my puppy? Good, Sheila. Hey, baby girl. I figure if you guys are going to let me go silent for 5 solid minutes while I talk, I can take a quick 2-minute pee break. Yeah, so they said it was a balloon like the others, but they used excessive force to shoot it down and then sent a team to recover it, which they don't do with other balloons. Photo op for believability. Okay. This is how my big picture brain works. I'm looking at this photo, and I remember this from the original news thing, right? And it's like, okay, so out of an abundance of caution, oh, we spot this thing. We don't know what it is. We've been tracking it for 6 days. We're panicking. We're doing this. We're doing that. We're going to shoot it down. We're going to use an incredibly expensive, for starters, if an air-to-air missile was used to shoot that thing down, there should be nothing left. And what little bit is left should be covered in burn debris. Because I'm assuming that if a missile hits, because we've all seen various we've the PP theory, Peggy P's what? So here's the thing: we shot, we put 1,000 men, all this weaponry. We recalibrated the entire freaking radar net of over the United States to track this, and we put all this time, energy, and technology into tracking this because it's a national fucking security issue. The Peggy Papez theory, yes, that's the PP theory. We put all this time, energy, money, resources into tracking this thing, shooting it down, and recovering it because it's a national fucking security issue. Oh, and here it is. We don't know what it is. We just shot it down 5 minutes ago. National fucking security. How ridiculous is U.S. national security if they are literally showing pictures of them recovering this thing? Now, don't forget. Now balloons can float on helium. Yeah, it does. I would assume that it should. I have no idea how those types of things work. But like, here's a picture of one of our planes flying by it. Okay, so you know what it is. You know what you need to do to get it down. We don't want to shoot it down over a populated area. Are you fucking kidding me? This thing passed over areas that are so open. This thing passed through areas and they tracked it for 6 fucking days. Okay. When Skylab, I remember this from when I was a kid. Skylab was a space station that eventually just broke down. And as time goes by, it starts dropping into a lower and lower orbit. They go, Skylab's going to hit the Earth. Skylab's coming down. Skylab is this. Skylab is that. They were able to, and I was a kid. This is 45 years ago. They had the technology and the capability of calculating within a fairly decent, like 5 to 10 mile radius degree of accuracy, where once, like, it took them some time, and they said, okay, this is where Skylab is coming down. This is where Skylab is. This is the path that it's following. If this is the path that Skylab is following, yeah, there should be burn marks. Okay, so this is the path that Skylab is following. As long as it doesn't continue, as long as it doesn't break up and pieces come off a little bit at a time, we can expect the debris to land approximately here. And they were right. 45 years ago, they could figure out where a space station was going to land, but they couldn't figure out where a weather balloon was going to come down, and had to wait for it to pass all the way over the country and be out over the ocean. That's how serious they took the threat, because they didn't know what it was, and they didn't know what would happen if they shot it down. It's like, okay, this makes sense. Now, and again, poor David Grusch is sitting in the corner going like, what is going on? Talk about me. So the thing is, they waited until it got over Peggy Papez peas. Yeah, that's what I just did. So this gets out over open water before they're willing to shoot it down. That is how seriously they took this as a national security threat. They've already done flybys. They've already got pictures of it. So they say that's what they showed us. These are the pictures of it. National security, the entire fucking country is panicking, but here's a photo op. No, that didn't happen that way. It didn't happen that way. So this thing, they finally shoot it down, and we're going to show you the recovery process. We're going to show you this photo. We're going to do this. No, that didn't happen. Whatever that is now it might have turned out to be a weather balloon. That's possible. But at the time that they were recovering that thing, they had no fucking idea what it was. They had no idea what tech was aboard. So for national security reasons, they would never have allowed the real photo to show. And if they did, then I'm really, really questioning the competence of the U.S. military. That's me. That's my story, and that's what I'm sticking with. Okay. Back to David Grusch. Yeah, anything we know and all that we see is because it's what they want. So they showed us a weather balloon. Now I'm gonna be the first to admit, people got out there with once this initially hit the news, and I don't know why it ended up on the news. Oh, it ended up on the news because civilians were like, hey, I poked I aimed my telescope and saw this thing coming over. What the hell, right? It was public very, very quickly because the public were the first to notice it or the first to report on it, whatever. So yes, it probably was some type of weather balloon. The first one was probably some type of weather balloon. The objects that they were finding after that, there was a report from a pilot who said, yeah, they sent us up to take a look at this thing, and it just was about the size of a compact car, and it was just there. It did not look like any weather. It did not look like anything they'd ever seen before. It's like, oh, who puts a weather balloons? A weather balloon isn't just a balloon that goes up. They carry instruments to measure airspeed, measure air quality, measure all sorts of things, right? So it's like, okay. So the other one, somebody just put a balloon up that they can't track because they didn't attach anything to it. That makes no sense. No sense whatsoever. Anyway, that's my first rant. This is not a real photo. There is no way. But of course, the average person you want to trust your government. You want to trust the people that are in charge. You want to trust the people that are organizing and running your fucking military. So this will be really reassuring to a lot of people. It's like, oh, look, it's just a balloon. Look at all this stuff, right? But I would personally assume that if whatever they shot this down with, they could have shot it down. They could have shot it down at any time in the 6 days that they were tracking it, because they would have been able. They had the technology to, if we shoot it down from here, it's going to land here, and we can go recover it. They want us to see this because they didn't want us to see what they really recovered. Now, it may turn out that what they really recovered was just a garden variety Chinese spy satellite of some kind. But they didn't know that when they were going out there to recover it. They were working on a lot of assumptions. And for national security, it was a huge breach to show. A photo like that is a huge breach of national security. It makes no sense. Anyway, back to David Grusch. David Grusch is kind of boring by comparison now. But these Chinese, Justin Trudeau on what the world needs to do to handle China's threats, blah, blah, blah. Why was the U.S. given permission to come into Canadian airspace and shoot down an object, not once, but twice? Because there's still some American fighters took down the one that was over Lake Huron. The Canada-U.S. border goes right through the middle of the lake. And a lot of people are fairly convinced that the actual location when it was shot down was very, very much on the Canadian side, which is why the Canadian police reported on it rather than the U.S. military. But anyway, David Grusch now shows up. All of this shit is brewing. David Grusch shows up just shortly before the Pentagon is required to release all this information. The balloon incident has happened. All this happened. Grusch shows up. Okay. The balloon incident happened before Grusch stepped forward because a lot of people felt that the trickle truthing started. This is me getting my dates and times mixed up because I'm really bad for this, okay? So the Chinese balloon incident happens January, February. Grusch steps up as a whistleblower a month later. It's like, oh, now that we know that these objects are up there, civilians the general public now have the ability to go, oh, I'm just going to put this up here and see if I spot anything. We now have the ability to look for and spot what could be what alien tech. We now have the ability to spot it, and we now know. Then the balloon incident made us aware that there's something up there. Blah 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 blah. So now they've got to get control of the narrative. In slides David Grusch to begin the process of, this is my opinion, critical truthing. What's really going on where UFOs and alien presence is concerned. On July 26th, during a July 26th congressional hearing, now we start getting to Grusch and the stuff that he's talking about. This is why the stuff that Grusch is talking about gets super. Congressional hearings are not my idea of excitement, but this is why it gets super, super, super interesting. Because the stuff that he's talking about, let me see. So when they're talking about Grusch getting ready to set this up and doing this, one of Grusch's, according to Keene, she vetted Grusch by interviewing Carl Nell, a retired Army colonel who was also on the UFO task force, and Jonathan Gray, a pseudonym whom Keene described as a current U.S. intelligence official, and so basically using false names to protect people. Keene wrote that Nell called Grusch beyond reproach, and that both Nell and Gray supported Grusch's claim about a secret UFO retrieval and reverse engineering program. So people testified in Congress that David Grusch had a solid, positive reputation in the intelligence community, and that if he was saying it, it was true. It's like, oh. So Grusch claims that so now let's get into some of the stuff that Grusch said, because God knows I've said everything else, right? Okay, so Grusch, he claims the U.S. federal government maintains a highly secretive UFO retrieval program and possesses multiple spacecraft of non-human origin, as well as the corpses of deceased pilots. He also claims that there is substantive evidence that white-collar crime took place to conceal UFO programs, and that he had interviewed officials who said that people had been killed to conceal the programs. Now, we can argue whether or not, we can argue back and forth whether or not any government would kill its own people in the interest of national security, but we really can't deny that the incentive would be there. So, and that there's always been there was a conspiracy theory that JFK was killed by the CIA because of things that he was about to bring to life that the CIA was doing. Like, it gets really fucking weird when you start talking about stuff about that type of cover-up conspiracy. Okay. He stated that he tried to get Sean M. Kirkpatrick, a director of all domain anomaly research. It's like, why does a government who is denying the existence of UFOs have so many departments who part of their mandate is to investigate UFOs? Makes no sense. So he tried to get somebody to help him share his claims with Congress. I expressed some concerns to Dr. Kirkpatrick about a year ago and told him that I was starting to told him what I was starting to uncover, and he didn't follow up with me. That makes sense. If you're sworn to, if you're a government operative sworn to secrecy, you're not going to follow up with somebody who's planning to go whistleblowing, right? Grusch elaborated on his claims in a subsequent interview with a French newspaper. I'm just going to skip trying to name everything. La Parisienne, that UFOs could be coming from extra dimensions, and they had spoken with intelligence officials whom the U.S. military had briefed on football field-sized crafts, that the U.S. government transferred some crashed UFOs to a defense contractor, and that there was malevolent activity by UFOs. And now, malevolent activity, this is malevolent activity by UFOs. This is one of the really, really interesting things that's starting to come up, is that this narrative is being rewritten, is that we need to accept, this is conspiracy theory 101, that the government is finally trickle-truthing the existence of UFOs to us so that we are prepared, because some of the factions of aliens that are active or about to be active on Earth are looking to go to war with us. So they need to get us trickle truth, accepting their existence and accepting that not all of them are friendly, so that we can be ready for the war. That's a conspiracy theory that's been going around for a while now. And the reality is, ET comes to Earth. Every single thing that we have ever believed is thrown into turmoil. Our religions are now at question. How can we be the center of the universe in a religious? How can we be the center of the universe religiously when entire civilizations who are more advanced than us, because they can get to us, but we can't get to them, how can they even exist without our God, right? So our world religions are now subject to our religious, the religious base of our entire world is like shaken. Our intellectually, well, we weren't smart enough to build the machines to get us to them. They're here. They're smarter than us. They exist in spite of our religions. Culturally, culturally, every other first contact that we have made has been with different tribes, different societies, but they've all been human. How do you culturally exchange with somebody who is smarter than you, more advanced than you, and has a completely different culture than you that you may not even be capable of understanding? What if they're a hive mind species? We see this in science fiction. Hive mind species controlled by a queen. How do we culturally understand that when it is so beyond our experience / existence? How do we communicate? How do you communicate? We learn how to communicate with other societies we've learned ancient we have rediscovered ancient languages by comparing them to the modern evolution of our own languages. So we have rediscovered lost Latin dialects and all this stuff, which rediscovering these things lets us discover more about the history, the times, the culture, the place. It lets us rediscover things from the past that we wouldn't otherwise if we didn't understand the languages. Like rediscovering what the Egyptian hieroglyphs actually meant let us understand how Egypt was evolved and developed, how they ran the country, what everything looked like. How do you learn to communicate with something who has no shared common anything? Okay, so that's the conspiracy theory, is that they're trickle truthing us now because we're about to be we are either just starting to come in contact with or about to be coming in contact with someone or something that we are not going to get along with. That is one of the theories out there. A lot of the theories basically place multiple different species of alien for one reason or another. And yeah, like that's how come we have stories of human abduction and medical experiments. That's how come we have stories of reptilians trying to take over the world. And the reason why those exist, because they're all true. They're all true because there's more than one faction / species / whatever. And they're all aware of each other, but we're not aware of any of them. It's kind of like a high school reunion over an anthill, right? So anyway, so Grusch has been expanding on this, that they're coming from extra dimensions, they're coming from extra places. We're investigating all of it. During the quest, he said that he was informed in the course of my official duties of a multiple decade. So this is what Grusch is reporting on, is things that he has been told during the course of his employment with the intelligence agency. And so he's reporting on that, but he's also saying, I've got evidence, but I can't show it publicly because it's a national security violation. So he was informed in the course of my official duties of a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program to which I was denied access. So yeah, the program exists, but it's not something I was allowed to personally work on. He believed that the U.S. government was in possession of UAP based on his interviews with 40 witnesses over 4 years. So basically, it was common knowledge, is what he's saying, right? He claimed in response to congressional questions that the U.S. has retrieved non-human biological matter from the pilots of the crafts, and that this was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the UAP program I talked to that are currently still on the program. What's a skiff? Yes, okay. When representatives asked him if he had personal knowledge of people who had been harmed or injured in efforts to cover up or conceal the government's possession of extraterrestrial technology, Grusch said yes, but that he was not able to provide details except with a skiff. So a skiff is, let's take a look. What is a skiff? Sensitive compartmented information facility. So basically a private meeting. If you take it privately, that could be all it is. We don't know, right? There is conspiracy theory number 135 is that we already that the US and other militaries already have joint bases on the moon and on areas of Mars, and that our technology is so far ahead of they reverse engineered UFOs to gain access to super advanced technology. We've already got bases on the moon. We've already got bases on Mars. And they are, national security. They're not going to talk about it. That's just the end of that. And where would the money be coming from except for top secret programs that the government doesn't want to discuss? And they've already done the math. The U.S. government loses track of about $1 trillion a year, they say. I don't know if that's the right number, but they lose track of billions of dollars a year. And it's like, oh, well, wait a second. Think of the Men in Black, right? Not going to get along with or defense fear they won't be able to have control over people. Yeah, we don't know. We don't know what the reason. Okay. There are so many possibilities that have been explored over the years, and if one of the number one theories is that there are multiple different races of aliens from multiple different planets that are coming here for various reasons. So they could all be right. They could all be right. These guys are just peaceful observers. These guys are just, doing whatever. These guys are mining materials from the dark side of the moon and stealing our resources. These guys are quietly kidnapping numbers of humans on a regular basis to turn them into slaves somewhere else. These guys are infiltrating because they're going to take over the world. We have no idea. Okay, we have no idea how common life is elsewhere in the universe. We don't know whether it's common or rare. If life elsewhere in the universe is relatively rare, then an inhabited planet would be of interest to a lot of things for a lot of reason. So we don't know. We don't know whether some or all or whatever is true. David Grusch was pretty consistent in his testimony, but he was only testifying about the things that he knew about. But yeah, saying that people have been harmed, and he's like, yeah, I can prove that, but you have to do a private meeting. Yeah, Grusch was interviewed on August 3rd, just shortly after his testimony. He was interviewed with his attorney, Charles McCullough, a former intelligence community inspector general. These guys are high up. Okay, Charles McCullough, a former intelligence. Yeah, there's this picture there. I'm not going to commit professional suicide unless I have some information of my own that I know that this is like worth. It makes no sense that the level of support that he got from the intelligence and community and from the military is way above what it should have been, when you can just say national security and shut the whole thing down. When asked about the U.S. having intact and partially intact alien vessels in its possession, Grusch repeated his claims, and McCullough noted that Congress should have access to the information it needs to properly oversee things going on in the executive branch. So, yeah. Responses from relevant experts. Now, it's already 4:00, so I'm going to skip that. So, House Committee Oversight and Accountability hearing. Sean Kirkpatrick, somebody who he's mentioned as being somebody who knows more about what's going on. So, disinformation campaign allegations from media pundits. This is a really interesting one. Okay, so let us go. This is where we're going to wind this down. I'm going to go back to Google. I'm going to go back to my basic Google here. I'm going to go to the news. David Grusch, Grusch. Pentagon says all those UFO sightings were just experimental aircraft. That's March 8 of when? Come on. That was March 8 of this year. So the Pentagon is formally responding to David Grusch almost a year later, because I just looked up David Grusch's name. There's no verifiable evidence that any UFO sightings in the U.S. was actually extraterrestrial, according to a new Pentagon. So they're back to trying to cover it up. Makes no sense. A new Pentagon report addresses a long-held belief that the U.S. government is covering up the existence of aliens. So now we're going back down. Reports of flying saucers became a cultural phenomenon in the U.S. in the 40s and 50s. So now they're saying, no, that's not it. There's since they've either changed their minds, changed the narrative, or they're just still resisting. Don't forget, you've got how many different agencies within the Pentagon. This agency is reporting UFOs this way. This is reporting this. Yeah, I think the various branches of military are doing their own investigations in their own way, on their own time, and the people that are actually in charge are doing something completely different. All investigative efforts at all levels of classification concluded that most sightings were ordinary objects and phenomena and the result of misidentification. It's like, okay. So basically, you release videos, leaked videos. You then turn around and go, yeah, we have no idea what that stuff is. And then you turn around and go, but it's not aliens. It's like, this makes no fucking sense whatsoever. No sense whatsoever. Oh, I didn't share the tab. I just went straight to the article. Okay. Yeah. Whistleblower doubles down on claims. This is a nightmare for me. October 5th. Back to March 9th. UFO report from the Pentagon. So yeah, it only takes one to be real and it changes humanity forever. What if we've been lied to about UFOs? Now that's January 14th of this year. What's happened since? Let's go over here. So let's make sure that that's doing it properly. Yeah. If they are leaking info and speaking on a Netflix docuseries, it's what they want us to know. Exactly. They're talking about this stuff. They're leaving some stuff alone, and then they're trying to deny other stuff. They're still fucking playing games. Absolutely. So where is it? That one. No, I do not want to get updates. So this is News Nation. Oh, that's something else. Let's go back over here for a second. Okay, so we've got CBC.ca. So that's that legitimate media talking about what the Pentagon said. The Hill. Now I don't think I can access that one. This is from December of 2023. Former intelligence. Oh, it's actually going to let me look at it. Some of these sites you have to be like, didn't share the tab properly. Let's go back. Let's stay on this one for a minute. So Quartz, The Guardian, News Nation, Wired, Forbes, claims made by UFO whistleblower David Grusch are pure science fiction. That's just around the same time as he did his thing. Politico once considered a program to reverse engineer alien spacecraft. Oh, U.S. once considered. Oh, we considered it, but we didn't do it. The Intercept, is this one? I think this is the one that I wanted to be. Okay. No, I don't want to see that. The Intercept. You know what we're not seeing? We're not seeing TMZ. TMZ is entertainment news. David Grusch reveals the aftermath of bombshell testimony. Nobody cares about David Grusch's revelations. The mainstream media is crapping on this guy. It's like mainstream media is like, we want nothing to do with this guy. We'll just repeat whatever the government wants us to say and be on our merry fucking way. The only people that are actually looking at this. Yeah, this is July 27th. So we're not mainstream media is for the most part ignoring it and taking the side of everybody else. Yeah. We need to ask, what are they distracting us from knowing? Let's talk COVID conspiracy theories, for example, and see how quickly YouTube shuts you down. Right. It's like, it's fucking crazy. This makes no sense. There's a whole lot about this that makes no sense. But when you look, and let me just, no, that won't do it. There's a search function that you can, when you do some of these searches, you can look for stuff like that's within a week or whatever. Settings, help. No, that's not going to let me do it. I don't want to do any of that stuff. So yeah, nothing new. And the new stuff now, let's get out of that one. Okay, this is interesting. Something that was reported. I'm not going to deep dive looking for it. One of the things that was revealed, David Grusch is full of crap. Okay, we know that ended up happening. UF whistleblower kept security clearance after psychiatric detention. So one of the things that was brought up, David Grusch has just got problems and he's a good guy. He's above reproach. This is what they're saying. He's a good guy. He's honest. He knows what he's talking about. He's doing this. He's doing that. He does his testimony. He testifies. After the fact, it comes out that he was put on a psychiatric hold twice while he was still in this program working on all this stuff, except for the dates and times that this was listed to has happened. He managed to keep his security clearance. And I'm sorry, if you get put on a psychiatric hold, your security clearance goes bye-bye, period, and stop. So was he on a psychiatric hold, or was this gets conspiracy level douchebaggery immediately. Non-human biological material will cover up a purported UFO crash sites, a decades-long secret program to reverse engineer extraterrestrial craft, a government cover-up employing administrative terrorism to silence truth tellers. Okay, why is that the fringe? Why is that a fringe theory? It's like, I'm sorry, we saw this happen, and the government was fucking proud of doing it. We saw this happen during World War II. During World War II, the government, various governments, the U.S. was not the only one, but because the West, because we won the war, the Germans had their own programs, the Americans had their own programs, and secret programs every single piece of anything that the other side managed to produce, the minute that the priority was to get a hold of it and replicate it and reverse engineer it and figure out how to use it and figure out how to build a bigger, better thing of your own. This is not a surprise. That is how the military/intelligence community of any government works. Why are we pretending that this doesn't happen? Why are we pretending that this is something new that we've never heard of before? It's like, this is no. This, this is garbage. Our government would never do that to us. Canada and the United States, England are all very, very proud of how they did this and how these types of activities helped win the war. Pretending that the government would never do this to its own people makes absolutely no logical sense. So David Grusch makes his claims. He's a former Air Force intelligence officer, and we went over that a little bit, right? Security clearances of the sort that Grusch had are subject to strict requirements, including regarding psychiatric episodes and substance issue. So his high-level clearance is what made him a more credible witness. But then after the fact, for whatever reason after the fact, and I'll tell you right now, most people believe that this was the job he was hired to do. He followed the rules and he was told what to say, how to say it. He was body language experts are like, he's not lying, but he's also not a whistleblower. He is doing his job. This has been kind of widely accepted in the UFO circles of people that watch this sort of stuff. They're like, if Grusch was actually a whistleblower, he wouldn't have lived long enough to even come forward, because that's not how national security works, or he wouldn't have enjoyed his freedom long enough to come forward. If this is what the government does this already, and we know it, ask yourself, if something's going on that might affect the national security of, if something is going on that might affect the security of where you live, like Australia and New Zealand, yes, they are developing, have developed, and are developing sonar, radar, or whatever to detect possible like submarine activity, blah, 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 blah. Just because you're not in the main shipping lanes of where conflicts would come from, that does make you very so national security is a big major issue. Our national security put us in a position where it was a very, very same-day process for the U.S. to get permission to fly into Canadian airspace and shoot down a fucking weather balloon. Australia, New Zealand, other countries that are kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Well, geographically, you're out in the middle of nowhere when you're out there, right? You've got security programs in place to make sure that you guys don't have to deal with some of the shit that, like, there was during World War II. During World War II, a German U-boat was spotted in the St. Lawrence River, because it's a really big river, right? Of course, your governments, even though you didn't have the same, even I may be using it as a bad example, but everybody who has the power to do so is running secret programs, because if the enemy, if the opposition, if the reason why you're running these secret programs is, okay, you're in Australia and New Zealand. Well, what if the Chinese decide to do so? What if the Chinese decide to invade South? How are you going to protect yourself? Oh, well, we're going to have a secret program that does this, and this, and we're not going to fucking tell them about it. You're not going to rile up your your neighbors by telling them that you've got secret programs to watch them, study them, plan for this, that. So even countries and regions and areas that are relatively safe have highly top secret programs in place that they don't want the general public to know about, period, and stop. Pretending that the government would never do such a thing is proof that the government would do such a thing. That's kind of how I see it. But anyway. So Grusch's high-level clearance, okay? Police records obtained by the Intercept under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act revealed that on October 1st, 2018, Grusch was committed to a mental health facility based in part on a report that he made a suicidal statement after Grusch's wife told him that he was an alcoholic and suggested that he needed help. That's a very, very, for starters, if you're a good hacker, it's really easy to insert that into somebody's records. So when you are active military, which he was at the time, the regular police does not come knocking at your door. The military police does. The fact that somebody with a high level intelligence clearance was supposedly put into the public mental health system is already a bit of a stretch to believe. My opinion. And of course, everything I'm saying is my opinion, right? Husband asked complainant to kill him. He is very angry. Guns are locked up. So they're talking about this in an email chain. Records sought. But the reality is that if he is a military officer with a high level of clearance, this would not be handled. Okay, you call the police, but the police are going, "Oh, he's military." Then they're going to refer it back to the MPs, to the military police. This makes no sense. This makes no sense. It's such a detailed action reaction. Committing him, he's an alcoholic, and this didn't come out until for starters, this didn't come out until after, during a Freedom of Information request. Who would know to go look for this? Who would know to look for this? It makes no sense. Like, if I'm gonna drop some bombshell that's causing a national fucking sensation, you would think that somebody's I want all the dirt on this guy. You contact everybody. Freedom of Information request. Those would have started the same day that he made his thing. So yeah, I have a hard time believing that it's real. I have a much easier time believing that this is related to cover up. But the thing is that somebody had this level of allegation coming out, and a separate incident dated 2014, a similar incident threatening suicide, blah 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 blah. Suicidal people don't get national security clearances, and they certainly don't fucking keep them. So if they're saying that in 2014 that he was suicidal, the second one. So I'm just going through this quickly because it's already after 4, and I know Lisa's going to be on her way home soon. So, though the names are redacted, but it's a home that Grusch and his wife owned at the time. So it's like I said, just being this would, if Grusch was in any way put on a psychiatric hold at any time for any reason, he would not be able to get a security clearance, period. And you cannot tell me that you're going into the intelligence field and the military is not doing a thorough enough. The military can just press a button and get access to police records. They don't need a Freedom of Information request. They just do, here we go. So yeah, that's a bit of a stretch that somebody managed to actually get a clearance and hold his clearance for years with this publicly. Not okay, a Freedom of Information request, sure, but when you're doing security clearances, they check the police stations of. Lisa had to do a security clearance thing to immigrate to Canada, right? She had to list every address she ever had and give consent for the government of Canada. Canada, we love everybody. Come on in. She had to list every address and give consent for a security check. Okay? And they checked with various police stations I think they just checked with Washington. It's okay, she's a resident of Washington. They checked to make sure she had no criminal record in Washington state. And I don't know, and probably federally as well. If it's that easy to get an immigration application, if it's that easy for the Canadian government to say, hey, we want information on this person because she's trying to emigrate, how easy is it for the American military to say, national security issue, we need all the information you have on this guy? If it was that easy to get that sort of security information on my wife because she wants to come to Canada and live here, no, there's no way he would have gotten security clearance. So I do not for a second believe that whatever they looked up, I do not believe for a second that that's what it was. This psychiatric detention thing is mentioned in some of the other stuff. And like I said, we're not going to go crazy. We're not going to go crazy doubling. We're not going to go crazy looking all this stuff up because it doesn't make a lot of. There's way too much to deep dive on. So what's happened since then is after the fact, when they could have had, okay, if Congress had this information beforehand, they would have never agreed to put this man in a hearing on anything. And yet, in order to appear before Congress, you would think that somebody would double check and go, okay, he says he's got this security thing. Okay, has anything ever gotten in the way of that? Oh, maybe we don't want to hear him. Okay. Since then, don't talk about, debunk every single thing that he's ever said. How can you debunk something that, okay, whether or not I believe in aliens cannot be debunked. That's my opinion. I've got no proof. Why are they saying David Grusch's claims have been debunked? Why is the Pentagon, after saying, yeah, these are UAPs, we have no idea what they are, coming back and saying, yeah, we know what all this stuff is. It's been misidentified. Why are they changing? So something was a brewing. And they decided that they needed to start trickle-truthing. For some reason, somebody along the track, they shot, maybe that train. Yeah, bye, Moira. I got to go too. There's only 3 people left. Everybody's like, come on, I got to go. I got to get out of here too. Anyway, are David Grusch's claims real? I think they're real. Does he know exactly what he's talking about every single thing? I don't think so, because I think he is. His whistleblowing was related to a lot of secondhand information based on what other people told him. But what has happened since then? And I've got about 3 seconds left for the punchline. What has happened since then? Sweet fuck all. It's like, wait a second. He had a closed door meeting with Congress, and the Pentagon swings back and goes, "Oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about." It's like, that makes no sense. Why is the only thing that mainstream media willing to say is that he didn't know what he was doing? Like, this is News Nation, whistleblower interview. What's happened since? What's happened since is his reputation is in tatters. He's basically under attack, and not under attack physically, but basically they're like, oh yeah, he's just a Looney Tune. That's what's been happening since. And it's like, makes no sense. Makes no sense that they let him. It makes no sense except for as an exercise in control. How did somebody with mental health problems get and maintain a really high security clearance? It didn't happen that way. There's no fucking way. How is it that he was allowed to say all the things that he said, even when those things that he said, even the things that he's reported on without providing proof, causes a national security uproar? It's like they can arrest him for this. It's like whistleblower protection does not protect you from disclosing problematic things that are going to cause. Okay, you work for a bank and you decide that you're going to become a whistleblower. So I'm going to whistleblow because I'm going to whistleblow by telling everybody the combination to the safe and the security code, so that when robbers break in, you're going to fucking jail for that. Makes no sense. Makes absolutely no sense. But anyway, what really makes no sense is the absolute silence since then. And this seemingly they're turning it around. They're still saying, oh, blah, blah, this is what's going on. The Pentagon is saying this, but he may have worked at the Pentagon, but that's not who he was working for. The Pentagon is the entity where all the other military departments work. What the people that worked closest with him, the people in the specific agencies that he's worked with, have had nothing to say. Nothing. Nobody's talking about anything. And yet we're getting more and more information about more and more tech, more and more this, more and more that. The trickle truthing continues. And I think maybe he revealed too much too fast. So they're trying to walk that. Oh, no, that's too much too soon. Walk it back a little bit. Walk it back a little bit. And yeah, David Grusch was just a guy. I think David Grusch was just a guy doing a job, revealing what he was supposed to review. And now that they're done with him, they're throwing him out to the wind. But you've also got to remember is that if you're working in a specific contained environment, you don't care what the general public thinks because you're fine. And there's not really any indication as to what he himself is doing. Where is David Grusch now? Where is he? Yeah, there's no information on what he's doing now. Now, when something like this happens and you burn your bridges, when you become a public figure, what you're doing now, who you're working for, what your current job is, and all that stuff becomes super easy to fucking find. Who does David Grusch work for now? Who does he work for? The government. As of July 2023, July 26th, he was a lead advisor for space control and non-kinetic investment R&D solutions for OSD-wide. And that's house.gov. Oh, that's okay. No, that's what his official job was at the time of his, that's what his official job was about at the time that he did his thing. July 20th, nothing. Yeah, nothing on what he's doing now. And it's like, I'm sorry, but that's generally basic information. But anyway, I think he's still very much working for the government. I think him and his government buddies are like, hey, we accomplished our goals. I think he had a goal to accomplish. I think he accomplished it. I think he's now gone back under the radar. This is a man who should be doing media interviews every single day for the rest of his life, based on what he said and how little opposition there was to him saying it. And I think it's very much bleeds into the conspiracy theory that when, where, and why we talk about any of this stuff is being very, very, very much controlled by some very, very, very scary people. But anyway, I think tell one truth so that the two lies make more sense. Trickle truthing. I do think that he said some very specific stuff to direct attention to some other direct attention away from other very specific stuff that the government doesn't want coming out. I think those spy balloons are something that those spy balloons actually had some part in it. I don't know what, I don't know where. I think they had some small part in it, and that's about all I can really say that I think. I don't know where it goes from there. I think that absolute silence. The only thing that's come. Oh, David Grusch has all these mental health problems. Like, no, he doesn't, or he would never have been allowed to work for the government. So that's a lie. That's a lie. Why is somebody trying to tell that lie? And let's face it. Oh, I sent off a freedom of information request and I got this stuff back. I'm sorry. I could do that on a word processor. I could do that anywhere, anytime. Nobody's actually gone to talk to the police and confirm. Nobody. You can fake that shit really easy. You can fake that shit. You can either hack into the database and fake it that way if you have a high enough skill level, whatever, or you can just make it on a word processor and go, look, this is what I got. I got a freedom of information request. This is what I did. I'm not going to go look up these people and try and sort this out and prove anything, right? So it's really that type of documentation is really easy to fake, even by anybody with a little bit of typing skill and a halfway decent word processor that they can format. So I think that's fake. I think that a lot of what he said, I think most, if not all of what he said was true, but I think it was put together in such a format that it still leaves the government firmly in control of what we're going to hear, when we're going to hear it, how we're going to hear it, so that as the truth comes out, we are going to be streamed into certain things. But we have to pick a topic for next week. I do not. Lisa's it's almost 4:30 my time, and Lisa finishes at 4:30. And Friday is date night for us. She comes home, and we figured out that if we commit to an early dinner on a Friday, we have our pick of anywhere that we would like to go, and we can have date nights on early date night on Friday, followed by either video gaming or whatever else catches our interest for the rest of the evening. So that's what we do on Fridays. So I do have to go. And I know that, well, you guys just love the story time, but thoughts, ideas below. Do we want to follow up? Do we want to follow up with stuff that's more specific next week and drill a little bit deeper into UFO stuff? Do we want to jump onto something else? We can talk about Roswell. Roswell is a really interesting talk all by itself, and I never get tired of hearing about it, especially as every year that goes by, something new, not something new comes up, but people start taking it a little more seriously. So there's new research, new theories, new ideas that come up. So we could talk about specific. I do want to start drilling down to specific incidents and things. So keep that in mind if you have a suggestion. And don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, do all the things, whatever. You guys are already subscribed. You guys are great. And we'll go from there. I will try to pick a topic for next week. Either I'll pick a topic from a hat, or we'll dive a little deeper into UFOs as a topic, and there's a community tab, more alien deep dive. I think you're the last one here. Well, you're the last man standing, so I guess you get to pick. I would love to do more alien deep dive. Maybe we'll do Roswell next. Maybe we'll do Roswell next week, and there's another couple of Roswell type incidents. Maybe we'll do that. Yeah, Roswell next week. Roswell. I will commit now. I will commit right this minute. Next week we're going to talk about Roswell. Roswell is a fun and interesting story, and new thoughts and ideas come out about that all the time. So we will go there. And there's an associated, I think it was in Australia, an associated report of something similar happening in Australia. So we can maybe see how they compare. But anyway, I'm going to get going. I got 4 minutes left, and the wife is going to start screaming. So we will deep dive more into alien stuff next week, probably Roswell. And I'm going to let you guys go, because if I don't, I'm just going to keep talking until she comes in and goes, why are you not ready to go? Anyway, I'm going to get going. You guys have a great weekend, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.